Welcome back to Game Talk from the Bench. I'm your host, Drew Barretto, and today I'm here with my co-host, my uncle Andrew Barretto. And today we're covering more football news, more off-season news. We'll get into some of that. In the NBA, we'll give you our weekly standings update, as well as some news that's going around, some injury news to the Suns. And in the MLB Spring Training has started. We're getting some contract extensions, and some news surrounding players on Team USA for the World Baseball Classic. But to start us off, in the NFL, we have some tragic news. Vikings wide receiver Rondale Moore passes away at the age of 25. Um, it was believed to be self-inflicted gunshot wound. Um, he was found in his home, and just lots of raw emotion came from the league. A lot of players spoke up about it. Maxx Crosby on Instagram said something, if you're struggling, if you're a man, you're out there struggling, or if anyone, you're out there struggling, to go speak to someone. Um, and that was the message a lot of players went out and said after they heard his passing. Just, go speak to someone because there is help out there, and you just have to find it. So sad news. To start us off in the NFL, but more news, further wise, Cowboys and running back Javonte Williams. Happy for my guy Javonte Williams. He signs a 3-year extension. 3 years, $24 million, $8 million a year, which was great for him. He was phenomenal last year. 16 million guaranteed. He was phenomenal, and yeah, I'm proud of him. He wasn't given a full chance in Denver. Now he gets a shot and the starting role in Dallas.
Yeah, now it's all his, right? Now he could go out there and earn that check. But yeah, that's a good signing. Just go ahead and solidify that position there for the Cowboys, and um, just one less piece they have to worry about. So uh, yeah, I like it. I like it. I don't have his stats in front of me.
Yeah, no, but he was a 1,000 yard rusher. Um, like I said, I mean, with that offense, that pass offense from Dak, with CD and George Pickens and Jake Ferguson. I mean, Javonte Williams was amazing on the ground game. He was a huge spark in which seems like the Cowboys hadn't had a good running game
Yeah.
for I want to say the past few seasons, ever since they lost both Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott when they had that 1-2 combo. But yeah, Javonte Williams gets himself the deal. Doesn't have to worry about free agency. Cowboys lock up their running back, and they can look elsewhere. Get him on a good deal too. 8 million a year is pretty nice. But furthermore, more news. Tight end Isaiah Likely on his decision in free agency says Baltimore is home, but business is business. He said he's been happy learning behind the vet, Mark Andrews, but if when you watch him play, he's got the talent to be a tight end one. But is that in Baltimore? Who knows? Does Baltimore stick with Mark Andrews as tight end one? Do they make the switch to Likely? Or will he find himself a new home elsewhere? I mean, it's tough, He's been great in Baltimore, showed up in a lot of big games, especially when Mark Andrews had somewhat of a down year. But market for tight end could be good for him in free agency. A lot of teams could use a tight end like that big. He's fast. He gets open. So it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, tough decisions already for the brand new head coach for the Ravens. It's like, do you keep Andrews around and someone who's you know been he had the injury bug a couple times, um, or do you go with the up and coming new guy here who's looking to they're all looking to get paid. It's matter and they want the opportunity, right? So yeah, I wouldn't be against them trying to look elsewhere. Business is business, and if he gets that payday that he wants and an opportunity to have more downs, then yeah, I could see him definitely taking it and going elsewhere.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be interesting. Like I said, free agency is coming up soon, and it's just a waiting game until then. Well, obviously, they could if they reach an extension, they reach an extension. Otherwise, he'll enter the market. So we just have to wait and see. However, Combine, the NFL Combine is coming up February 26th. This is recorded on 24th, so this Thursday is the Combine. Obviously, always in Indianapolis. Um, some of the stars or some of the college stars like Fernando Mendoza, Jeremiah Love, Arvil Reese, and Sonny Styles are those who scored invitations to take part. It starts 3 p.m. Eastern on Thursday and will last until 5 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. So obviously all the teams there, GMs are there, questions are being asked. We'll get into more of that. But going into the franchise tags, first one was used. We talked right up last week. Obviously, last week when we recorded, it was the first day it opened up, but tags already being used. Falcons are tagging Kyle Pitts. So Atlanta won't lose their tight end, who had a much better year this year. His best year, probably out of his 4. He was scoring more touchdowns. He was getting the ball more. Question is, who's the quarterback for Atlanta this year? Obviously, it was Michael Penix. Tore his ACL. Here comes in Kirk Cousins. He ends up, they're planning on releasing him come March 11th when the new year begins. So for the fantasy people out there, it all depends. Kyle Pitts is talented. We know that. But it all depends on who's throwing him the ball. So that's one tight end off the board. I know many teams were looking and hoping he would enter the free agency market, but Falcons make the move. New Year, Kevin Stefanski wants his David Njoku tight end.
Yeah, right. They lock him in for. I mean, what is it like for a year? So he's going to get the. Okay, I see it right here. So 928 yards receiving. So he's going to get a year contract being tagged. I guess at the average of the tight ends in the league. I'm not too sure how this is.
Yeah,
This goes
it's
down
usually on
anymore.
the higher end. It doesn't give us the specifics just yet.
Yeah.
But it leaves them time to, or gives them, I guess, a year essentially to either tag him again or extend him. So it
And
says they'll be paying him.
these guys, they don't like to be tagged multiple times. They like sign me to a long deal already before they start requesting, a trade. I want out of here.
Yeah, no. So it says right here, it's projected him a 1 year, obviously $16.3 million contract. So usually the tags on the more expensive side, but it's something you could use, and your player can't go elsewhere. So that's the benefit. That's the upside and the downside of it. You get to keep your player, but at a higher price. But you don't have to worry about him leaving. And it gives you, like I said, more time to work on an extension. Other news surrounding the tag. Breece Hall. If the Jets cannot reach a long-term deal with him, they'll use either one of the two types of tags. There's the franchise tag, which is the one we just talked about with Kyle Pitts. They get the 1 year deal, mostly on the higher end of the market. Or there is the transition tag, which is they tag him and say he gets an offer from another team for 2 years, 10 million, whatever. New York has the chance to offer and match that, and if they can, I believe he stays in New York. But if they can't match it, or if they don't want to match it, then he leaves in free agency.
Okay.
So
bad.
that's not too bad. So that's what the Jets are eyeing their options for when it comes to Breece Hall. Obviously drafted into New York, he's only 24, splitting his reps with blanking on the second running back. But yeah, I mean, he's 24, young running back, showed a lot of flashes. Fantasy people love to draft him. Obviously, a little bit of a down year this past year because the Jets were just as bad as my Raiders. Just as bad. So
that's a bad team there. Yeah.
So we'll see what the Jets decide to do with him. Obviously, they say running backs are some of the most replaceable positions, but we'll see. He's only 24. But furthermore,
it's tough. Yeah, it's tough to, when you have one of your actually better players in this situation, as a franchise, they've made so many just bad moves. I mean, just like the Raiders, they go through coaches, go through players, and they're still bottom of the league. top draft picks in every single year. It looks like top 5 or whatever it is. Um, and just to consistently not see any results, and then when you finally have a player who's a young up and coming running back, um, now he's seeking a deal, seeking to get paid like everybody else, and um, yeah, we'll see what they do. I mean, I could see them, yeah, using that tag, and again, another situation trying to work it out, but on a potential long term.
Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, right? Combine's up, GMs are out in Indianapolis. So a couple GMs obviously are getting asked questions and they're answering them the right way. John Spytek, the GM of the Raiders, he expects Maxx Crosby to be in with the Raiders in 2026. I'm no doubt about it. Obviously, there's all the trade speculations, all the trade rumors, and whatnot. But when you have the head coach, the GM, I mean, even Max himself, who's trying to stay away from the trade rumors, it's hard to believe that he'll go anywhere. Like I said, especially if they want an offer that was greater than Micah Parsons, it's gonna be hard to move him.
Yeah, this is all talk, right? It's kind of everyone's waiting for the combine, waiting for, some kind of trades to come down. It's just all talk to me, if you ask me. And I think I think at the end of the day, he doesn't go anywhere. It's just trying to draw up some conversational, piece on ESPN or something. But yeah, we just take it what it is, and yeah, like we said earlier, in another episode, I'd really hate to see one of the better players again of the Raiders leave for potentially draft picks or something. Like I don't know who you want to get that is going to be better than Maxx Crosby, a seasoned vet and a captain of that team. You know what I mean? I just yeah, I just think it's like foolish talk. Like he's not going anywhere. It can happen, of course, right? We've seen it,
Yeah,
but
we've seen it.
like we said before, Khalil Mack was that guy when John Gruden came along, and I know the new coach for the Raiders probably looking for some additional assets and maybe draft picks, but I think we talked about it before. They got some money to spend, and they just have to do it wisely and attack those positions that are in need.
Yeah, other GM news. GM of the Pittsburgh, the Steelers, Omar Khan. He says the doors are open for an Aaron Rodgers reunion. Obviously, they hired Mike McCarthy as their head coach, so obviously there's a connection there. But it still says they're looking for a franchise quarterback. Now, they did draft Will Howard, former Ohio State quarterback, last year, sat behind Rodgers, so we'll see. We'll see. Apparently, they're keeping their eyes. Hold on, if I'm getting this right. I'm trying to remember. I think it was the Steelers. Keeping their eyes on Malik Willis and Ty Simpson in the draft. So, who knows? Will Rodgers return? Will they try to look for their franchise quarterback? We will see. They were a playoff team, obviously eliminated in the first round, so the pick isn't that high to get one of the better quarterbacks in the draft.
Are we
But
are we doing this again with Aaron Rodgers? I mean, like teams waiting for him and his decision again. I mean, it's
is he going to go into
listen,
hibernation again?
he did play well with the Jets. Okay, I know he got injured what the first play of his first year, I think it was with the Jets, and then when he did come back, it was just statistically just all around the Jets. We talked about them being a horrible franchise, so he didn't make a difference. Even Pittsburgh, I don't think he was lighting things up. I'd
No,
expect
I
him
thought
to
he
make
was
a play or
inconsistent in
two,
Pittsburgh.
but yeah, just go get your young quarterback, get a veteran guy in free agency. Looks like Kirk Cousins may be available, like you said. I have a little bit more faith in what Kirk Cousins could do than Aaron Rodgers at this point.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see. The quarterback draft class isn't the best.
Yeah, right.
Free agency wise, it's also not the best. No one like that's just gonna stand out to you. But yeah, we'll see. Rogers is definitely an option. Will he return? Who knows? The door is left open though. But our final two little bits of news. First one I'll just go over real quick. Broncos coach Sean Payton is handing play calling duties to new offensive coordinator Davis Webb. Webb was a big name For coaches, obviously he got the promotion, the offensive coordinator in Denver, and now Payton will give him the play calling. So we'll see how that goes. But bigger news, um, the Niners and Trent Williams are having problems regarding his contract. He is set to account for about 39 million to the cap,
Wow.
and cannot find negotiation, and it could end up being to his release. Now, granted, he is old. He's old. He's 30. What was he? 38.
Injury plagued,
Uh,
right?
yeah. Well, he's 12-time Pro Bowler.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Hall of Famer
the
in
Hall of
many
Famer.
eyes.
Probably,
Um,
arguably still the best left tackle in the league.
when you brought him up, I was thinking that like what they're having a hard time. I go, what, with money? Because he sure gets paid a lot of money, and if the Niners are trying to make any kind of moves this off season or in the near future, there's a particular guy who takes up a lot of the cap room, I guess, and he easily could free up some money there by releasing someone like that. Is that a big hold to your line? Of course it is.
Of course, especially
Um,
when it's a player like that.
yeah, so I let John Lynch and company, these guys, they've been together, him and Kyle Shanahan, they've been together for a long time to come up with the game plan and see what they could do moving forward with these salary issues that they're going to have. So there's a lot of those players, um, owed a lot of money. So we'll see how that works.
Yeah, no, I mean, he is, like I said, arguably the best left tackle in the league. Now he is going to be 38. He's old. If the Niners release him, obviously he becomes a hot free agent target. But it also could bring up the question: could he retire? Joe Staley, former Niners tackle, he was there at one point. Obviously retired after they lost the Super Bowl. Williams wasn't with the team when they went to the Super Bowl a few seasons ago. But I mean, it's interesting. It's really intriguing to see what happens there. Like you said, it's a big hold of that line, especially in a player of his caliber. And so it's another one of those waiting games of like, will they find a way to keep him? Will they let him go? Will he go to another team, or will he end up just saying, "Hey, I'm done with the game. I'm gonna retire." So we'll see. We will see, but it's very interesting on that one. Now, when I saw that news today, I was like, "Wow, that could be huge. Could be huge." But
Yeah, I think they end up. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say they end up retaining him because the need for offensive linemen, especially one of that caliber, I think they put up a little bit more of a fight than they did with Debo Samuels. Just see ya, Debo. We have plenty of other receivers too. We'll go with rookies, but I don't think they could do that in this situation since it's just an experienced player and, like we said, Hall of Famer. So I think they're gonna try to make everything work there and hopefully get a contract together.
yeah, like I said, just a waiting game on that one. But moving on to the NBA is our weekly standings update. Pistons in the East, they still lead the way. However, they had a pretty tough loss to the Spurs. Wemby and the Spurs, they shut down who MVP candidate Cade Cunningham to 16 points, and they had the big win over the Pistons. But they still lead the East, followed by the second seed Celtics. Warriors saw them firsthand last week coming out the All-Star break. Yeah, they're good. They just find ways to
Yeah,
replace the guys they lost. Sam Hauser, never heard of him.
yeah.
Amazing shooter. Jaylen Brown, obviously is Jaylen Brown. I mean, they got a squad. Obviously,
And
Payton Pritchard,
weren't they up by
Derek
like
White.
30 something points
They
that
were.
game against the
They
Warriors?
were.
I mean,
But the Warriors
they're
came back. They only lost by 11. But yeah, no.
you got
Celtics, great team.
uh you got the Pistons. I don't know if you've seen the Pistons play. They're really good. They're for reals. You got the Celtics. We saw them. They're a good squad too. Um, and it's just like, okay, those are the strong teams in the East, and then you continue with the Knicks. The Knicks are, yeah, they're right up there. I don't think the Knicks are up there with the Pistons. I think when they get together and however that may work out, I think the edge goes to the Pistons because of their physicality, which they tried to do to Wemby and the Spurs, and it backfired on them. Looks like they're trying to just be physical with a lot of teams that are playing right now, the Pistons, and they got a good team. They're very fun. It was fun to watch. Kate Cunningham at the point.
Yeah, they are. Speaking of the Knicks, they're the third seed. They're tied with the Celtics at 37 wins. Followed by the Cavs, who are playing the Knicks. Last time I checked, Cavs were up. Don't know the score on that. Then the Raptors are the fifth seed at 34 wins, followed by the 76ers at 32 wins. And then the play-in. Magic, the seventh seed, Heat, the eighth seed. And the Hawks and the Hornets are the last spot. I mean, don't be surprised. Hornets, like I said, they're still on their little bit of a winning streak. 7-3 in their last 10. Could be a tough play-in team. But in the West, we have Thunder. The Thunder and the Spurs are the 1-2 seeds. Spurs are catching up. They're only 3 games. Thunder are 44-14. The Spurs are 41-16. Spurs are 9-1 in their last 10. That's whew. Then we got the Rockets.
9 in a row.
A little bit of
9
separation
in a
there.
row.
9, yeah, there. Wow. But then we got some separations. Rockets 35 wins, 35-21. Nuggets, who were the third seed, till they had a pretty tough upset against the Warriors the other night. They are 36-22, followed by the Lakers at 34-22, and the Timberwolves, who are 35-23. And then we get into the play-in. Suns 33-25. Warriors currently playing the Pelicans are down by 4, 30-27. I might be wrong on that. They are down 5, potentially 6. They're down 6. And then the Trailblazers 28-30, and the Clippers are 27-30 to fill out. That will probably be your play-in at the end of the year. I don't see Memphis coming back and making it, and I don't see the Timberwolves falling below that threshold. But NBA news. Speaking of the Suns, Dylan Brooks, his hand, he had a left hand fracture, out 4 to 6 weeks. Now that's brutal. That could allow for the Warriors, especially with other news. It was where'd it go? It was Devin Booker out a week with the hip strain. But big news because Brooks, as a Warriors fan, I'm not a fan at all of Dylan Brooks. Don't like him whatsoever. But he's been balling on the Suns. He's been 20 plus points. Obviously, he's known for his defense, but he's been hooping. And now he's out 46 weeks. We'll see how that affects the Suns. If it's a huge impact or not, we will see. Will they fall below the Warriors in the standings? That's just a matter of time. However, other news, DeJounte Murray returns from his Achilles injury. Yusuf Nurkic, with his nose, is out for the season. The Utah Jazz are just trying to complete their tank at this point. Shaedon Sharpe out 46 weeks with the stress reaction. And Kevin Durant, this is another interesting. Kevin Durant wants to play for Team USA in 2028. It's interesting because he's going to be old. It's going to be really old. In 2028, LeBron will be 43.
Invited?
That's true. That is true.
Just selected. I mean, I know he's one of the great offensive scorers in the league, but yeah, I mean, sooner or later, the LeBrons and the Currys and the Durants of the world. I mean, we're already seeing kind of like, Anthony Edwards and Shai Gilgeous, who I don't think he's played recently, but these younger guys getting ready to eventually, take it. LeBron's really not even playing this year, it seems like, right? I mean, I know he's been playing recently, but he's definitely been on some minute restrictions and game restrictions. So I guess however he's feeling, then he'll get in the lineup. But yeah, we'll see how that goes for Durant. I don't think it'd be the same. France was already on the heels of the U.S. Without a Steph Curry, performance. What would happen if they bring back all the oldie but goodie guys?
Yeah, no, I mean it'll be tough. He'll be 40. Curry would be 40. LeBron would be 43. It's tough. I mean, Hall of Famers, right? You're talking Hall of Famers. Will they be on the team? It's tough to say when they're going to be that old, but it's a possibility. So, I mean, never say never. Anything could happen, but it would be tough, I'd say. But moving on to the MLB, that is all that we got in the NBA. Like I said, we're still coming back from post All-Star break, trade deadline already happened. You're just kind of waiting on playoffs to get there. But in the MLB, spring training has started. Obviously, top prospects are out there. They're hitting homers. Connor Griffin hitting homers. I mean, all of these young guys are out there trying to make the name for themselves. More news. Sorry, I just blanked for a second. Chris Sale agrees to a 1-year extension for $27 million, setting a Braves record. And other news that came out regarding the World Baseball Classic. Tarik Skubal, big name, back-to-back Cy Young winner, won his arbitration, making a lot of money this year. Playing for Team USA. He's only gonna play one game, and that game is up against Great Britain. So a lot of controversy came out of that. I mean, when you have, like I said, 2 back-to-back Cy Young winner on your Team USA, and he's only playing one game against a team arguably you don't need a pitcher of his caliber to win. It's brutal. When you need a guy like that for the Dominican Republic, for Team Japan, but he's only playing one game. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, obviously, there's the injury.
They don't want him getting hurt, man. They just spend a lot of money on him.
True. Yeah, the Tigers did lose their arbitration on him. Yeah.
I mean, these are what? These are pretty much exhibition games, right? Or how do they take these games?
No, they count. Oh, well, it's kind of like the World Cup. Well, not the World Cup. The Olympics of baseball.
Okay.
So obviously,
I'm not sure.
the team that wins obviously, gets the trophy and whatnot. Obviously, back in is it every 3 years it happens? Was it 23 or 22? Obviously, Team Japan beat Team USA in the championship. And now USA stacked up a really good roster, and now one of your best players won't even be in the most important game. So it's gonna be interesting. I mean, obviously he's gonna probably still play, but it's like, who do you replace him with after that? Obviously they still got a guy like Paul Skeens and Logan Webb, 2 top tier aces, but it's like, who do you replace? How do you replace a 2-time Cy Young winner to play in a game that could be the championship? So
might have to change up the rosters there. You have we've seen it before where they just tell you this like right now, but if it came down to it, maybe you do have to get them in there, getting our best players, so we can win this championship. So yeah, it would be unfortunate if they don't give him unless somebody else takes over and takes care of it, right? But if they do come into a bit of trouble, then yeah, I would think you would go with your ace there, your Cy Young award-winning, back-to-back ace.
Yeah, so we'll have to see. But as of now, spring training going on, rosters trying to be finalized. All the young prospects, all the young stars. Travis Bazzana, he hit a home run earlier today for the Guardians, trying to make their mark, trying to make their way on the roster for opening day. So it'll be interesting. So we'll be able to cover that as we get closer and closer to the season, as we get closer and closer to the World Baseball Classic. But as for now, that is all we got. So thank you all for tuning in. I'd like to thank my co-host, my uncle, for joining me today. We get episodes out every Wednesday from either the time of like 12 o'clock to 4 p.m., maybe 5 p.m. I get posts out on TikTok, Instagram, and then videos are out on YouTube and Spotify. One last time, thank you all for tuning in, and until next time, stay ready.